Hi, I'm Todd Burgon, Executive Director of the TADA. Our industry has seen unprecedented times over the last few months. The one thing, though, that is positive from all this is that we have proven once again we continue to be a resilient, a creative, and an innovative industry that will always survive and prove to others that we are worthy of their business. I want to talk to you today a little bit about what the future holds and how we as an organization and an industry are going to continue to energize one of the most important times of the year, the spring selling season. I have with me today to help me talk to you about this, Dave McLean, Director of Marketing for the Canadian International Auto Show. Welcome, Dave.
Thanks for having me, Todd.
So Dave, let's get right to it. Last week, the Canadian International Auto Show was the talk of the town. It was all over the news, Toronto Star, Breaking News, 680 News, CP24, you name all the major carriers in Ontario, it was their top news story, the fact that we were going virtual. What made you decide to go virtual?
Well, I think it all started with the discussions we have with our board of directors, the executive of the auto show, and figuring out what is our plan. Because our job remains the same regardless, whether we're doing a physical event or in this particular case, a virtual event. We have to get people excited about the new car buying experience and what's available to them to meet with their personal mobility needs in the Canadian marketplace. So there just wasn't another option this year. We had to figure out how we could proceed in our business plan in a safe and respectful way. Respectful to the manufacturers, the 1,100 dealers, and of course the attending consumer audience. So that was really what precipitated the decision to say we're going completely digital.
Okay, Dave. So for those that are watching this, they click on the platform. What is it that I walk into? What am I going to see when I click on this platform from a physicality perspective? Like I'm trying to get in my head is like, what is it I'm actually seeing? Am I going straight into a manufacturer's booth? Like where do I end up?
Well, Todd, you're walking through the front doors of the Metro Toronto Convention Center. So the first thing you're going to experience is what we call the North Lobby of the Metro Toronto Convention Center. From there, just like at a physical show, you can plan your experience at the auto show. So you can decide where you go. I mean, we have displays obviously in the north and south buildings of the Metro Toronto Convention Center. So if you decide there's a particular manufacturer that you want to see right there and right then, you can click onto that manufacturer. But if you decide to browse through, you can actually walk through the halls of the auto show as you would have in past years, and then decide which manufacturer you want to visit at which point in time, understanding what products they have available to you and what reward there is for you personally being there.
I get to my favorite manufacturer, or one of the many that I want to see when I'm there at the show. And this may sound like a dumb question, but I'm pretty good at asking dumb questions. So I'm going to ask it. What do I see?
You're basically going to engage with the manufacturer. You're immersed in their brand experience then. So we always know that no matter what happens at the auto show, the cars are the stars. People come to see the more than 1,000 new cars and light trucks that are available in the Canadian marketplace. But then they want to see concept cars and prototypes. They want to see a little bit of motorsport. Of course, they want to see the classic cars that we spoke about. So manufacturers are given the opportunity to show consumers what they have that's new this coming year. What they have as far as their halo technologies for consumers that helps lead them into buying more cars over the coming years, depending on when they're in market. But it's really to experience their brand. Manufacturers have to be true to their brand and to the experience of the brand, what their brand essence is, what their brand voice is, and then allow consumers to engage with them in a unique and experiential way.
I'm going to put my OEM hat on for one question. Who else has this platform?
Well, nobody does. As I said, this is a platform that's unique to the Canadian International Auto Show. We built this out. So what we're really doing is providing manufacturers the opportunity to mirror the physical event that we present each year and create that brand experience for consumers, getting them excited about buying their cars.
So we are literally breaking ground on something that has never been done before.
This is the world's first.
Incredible. So tell me a little bit about the fact that someone may say to me, and they have said to me, so let's just take the hard knock on the forehead and deal with it. What makes this experience different than a website? If I'm a manufacturer or I'm a retailer sitting back saying, well, what's the difference between this and my manufacturer's website? How would you respond to that?
Todd, this is a show. This is the Canadian International Auto Show. Manufacturers all have websites and they have some great content on their websites, but we're building a show that's going to be on every day from 10:30 a.m. until 10 p.m. We've got, different experiences than information you can collect on a website. We've introduced some new technologies like what we call co-browser technology, because we know people typically don't go to the auto show on their own. It's less than 3%. So you can meet up with friends, you can tour through the virtual halls together as a small group. So this is an immersive platform. And people have to understand that. I understand the confusion because there really hasn't been one. We have no playbook to refer to, but the Canadian International Auto Show will have the same sort of structure in terms of media day, opening day, family day, something that's happening the 10 days. And really what I think is exciting about this year is that we're really giving the manufacturers to go wider and deeper on their brand experience than they otherwise would be able to in a physical event because of scheduling restrictions, maybe budgetary restrictions. So there is a lot that they can do in creating that unique, and I have to stress that it's a unique experience. It's not replacing a physical event. It's a unique, immersive, virtual experience.
Media Day is certainly one of the most important days for the manufacturers on many different fronts. How are we going to continue to keep that excitement and that energy for Media Day? And is that something that you think is going to be attainable?
Actually, Media Day in itself is going to be the easiest part of this for us to execute because manufacturers, we're going to be presenting manufacturers with criteria, the same criteria that we have in past years, and that is that you have to have either a national, international, or some sort of global unveiling in order to qualify for Media Day. It's not about just saying we want to participate in Media Day. You have to have the content so that's newsworthy, that's worth reporting on. So I think the Media Day itself, we're going to have 1,500 to 2,000 media registrants, as we typically do. We've tested the waters. We know how this is going to work. We will schedule in the manufacturers as we typically have. And then there's opportunity for one-on-one meetings afterwards. So Media Day is going to be, I think, a very, very strong component. And then we obviously open it up to consumers. And that's where it gets challenging because what do we need to do to change behavior of consumers? Not just manufacturers, that's one job, but then we have to change the behavior of consumers. Well, we're not going to lay back in terms of our marketing, our advertising, and our promotion. Certainly once we know we have the content, then you have to tell everybody what that content is and create as many reasons why they should be coming to the event, whether it be virtual or physical.
Right.
So this year we will make sure that we are as ever present as we typically are in the month of February, working with all forms of media to engage with consumers. And I think that it just means that the content might be a little bit different, the messaging might be a little bit different, but in the end, we just have to make it as exciting as it really is going to be.
Let's talk a little bit about attracting attendees. That's one thing I know that you're an expert in terms of coming up with unique ways to attract attendees down to the show other than just the physical car. So what are the plans for the virtual?
Well, I think we've got to approach this in the same sort of way as how do we engage with the different demographics, the different psychographics, the different wants and interests of the various communities inside the Southern Ontario and now all of Ontario in terms of the marketplace. So it's a matter of creating content. Everything is about, it's about content and distribution. We know we have the content or we will have the content. Now let's figure out what the most efficient distribution is going to be.
So we still see things that we've been doing in the past, like giveaways and gamification and those types of things. Is that still part of your plan?
So a couple of key elements. Of course, in the presentation of the event, we didn't want to make it a game. We wanted it to be somewhere between real and surreal.
Right.
But from a gaming perspective, we're continuing with our relationship with the World Gaming Network and presenting the world's fastest virtual driver because it is a global contest. The content itself, whether it be prizing, gamification, interest in looking forward, interest in looking backwards, there's going to be something there for everybody. And I think what's really unique about it this year, and I know you haven't asked me the tough question yet, so I'm going to offer it up, is how much are we going to charge?
Right.
And what we've decided for 2021 is that we are going to make access to the platform free for consumers in Canada.
That's incredible. So I'm going to put you back on the spot then. Give me a number. How many people do you think that this platform is going to see?
Like I said, there's no playbook, but I don't think it's unrealistic to expect that we'll get somewhere between 500,000 and 1 million people that experience the platform over the 10 days of the event.
Wow, that's a big number.
Yeah, and you know what? We're not just picking that out of thin air. We know that every year on autoshow.ca, which is the ultimate pre-planning tool, and it will serve the same function this year, pre-planning for the platform experience, we typically get, on average the last 3 years has been just over 800,000 uniques per year. So looking at a factor of about 60%, just to be modest and safe in terms of what our forecasted number is, we're thinking somewhere around 500,000 is our minimum threshold.
That's incredible. So how will dealers and manufacturers, because dealers are going to be watching this, obviously it's an easy question for them to want to ask and to want to know, how will they be able to connect with the attendees during the event? Because the physical event, as you know, when you're on the floor, it's easy to connect with an individual that may be in market at that particular time. What does that look like in the virtual environment?
Well, I think actually, as we all know, the virtual platform and any sort of digital relationship, digital media, creating that engaging relationship is rich in data. And I think that the lead generation coming out of the virtual event will be much richer, much more meaningful, and much more immediate than it would be. You know, at a physical event, people get excited about a particular brand. They've now focused in on the car. They go home, they think about it. What's the decision? Boom, boom, boom. Maybe 10 days later, they're going out to their dealers to take a look at that car. Well, somebody can leave from the comfort of their own living room and go directly to a manufacturer because they've now made their decision to buy, and this is where we're going to buy it. So these people that are going to be visiting the platform, obviously the leads can be generated serving anybody across the province of Ontario, and create a lead that's a qualified lead directly for them to follow up.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see how our society, because of COVID, has had to pivot to being able to maneuver through online platforms to purchase various things, whether it's cars or other goods that maybe normally wouldn't be that individual that would be doing these things, and it's now become more of the norm for them. So, I mean, if there's ever an opportunistic time to put something like this in front of people, I would say that we're certainly in it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the one thing that we're all worried about is this COVID is prolonged, is screen fatigue.
Yes.
But I can promise you that people, especially given the opportunity to visit the platform as often as they would like after they've registered, that there's going to be something there that's exciting for them, something that's rewarding for them in terms of what's available from the manufacturers and our 1,100 dealers in Ontario. And I think it's going to serve, fill the big three buckets that we always look at. We need to inform, we need to educate, and we need to entertain. And that's really what the show is going to do this year.
Excellent. Well, listen, Dave, I want to thank you for being here with me today. I'm excited. This is something that our industry desperately needs to continue to take place. If there's ever a time for where we can put on something to help stimulate a marketplace and help invigorate consumers for either purchase or to go and experience our industry, this is the perfect opportunity. So thanks for all of your hard work, and thanks for coming today and explaining everything to our dealers and the other OEMs that we'll be seeing this. Much appreciated.
My pleasure. Thanks, Todd.